Hey Valley, welcome back to another G67 math video. Tonight we're going to be completing histograms. We'll actually construct several of them actually, but let's get started off with the trivia question here. Name these two talented young women. I need both names. See if you can come up with those by the end of the video. Tonight officially our target is I can complete a histogram. Let's get started here. The word histogram can be kind of scary, but I'm going to show you how simple it is on this one right here. We need to create a histogram for the test scores on the frequency table below. Well, I got these scores here, scores in the range of 1 to 5. I had 3 kids. Scores from 6 to 10, I had 4 kids. 11 to 15, 13 kids. And 16 to 20, I had 10 kids. So we're taking a look at this. We're basically going to make a type of bar graph, but instead of putting individual scores down like we've grouped the scores into ranges of 1 to 5. And notice how there's always the same interval down here. 1 to 5, 6 to 10, 11 to 15, and 16 to 20. So I'm going to go ahead and group those in. And let's see, we had 3 students in that 1 to 5 range. Pop that in right there in the 6 to 10 range. We had 4 kids, 11 to 15. That was a big one. We had 13 students in that range. And in the 16 to 20 range, we had 10. So I still have my labels here. Number of students over here. This is the frequency or the value for that. And these are the range. Scores of 1 to 5, 6 to 10, 11 to 15. Notice it's continuous from 1 to 20. Those are important things. We'll learn more about that in this next slide as we learn a little bit, about histograms. So a histogram is similar to a bar graph, but it groups data into ranges, as I explained in that first slide. The x-axis is continuous. There's no gaps. Take a look at this one. This is a bar graph. These are discrete groups, US, India, UK, etc. This one here is continuous. See the number ranges? This is from 100 to 150, from 150 to 200, 200 to 250. And notice it starts at 100 and it takes you solid all the way through to 350. These are not discrete categories here. These are ranges. These are like isolated events. All right, now this one over here, take a look at this one here. We have minus 0.5 all the way to 2. And we have these little ranges of about a half. Negative 0.5 to 0, 0 to 0.5, and so on. So our interval is 0.5. But take a look at here. There is absolutely no value here between 1 and 1.5. And that's okay. You can't make the data up. Don't fill it in. There's 0 value there. All right? It happened 0 times. The frequency was 0. Sorry about that. All right. Histograms are great ways to show results of continuous data such as weight and height and time, etc. The y-axis again shows the frequency, the x-axis the number ranges or buckets. Sal Khan talks about dumping the data into buckets, and I'll show you what he's talking about in this next one. I kind of like the idea. So I measured the heights of all the trees in my yards and created a histogram to display the data. So here are all the heights of the trees. Now, instead of just charting these out in a bar graph where I could put each of these as a value, I'm going to start dumping them into buckets, as Sal would say. And let's range in from 1 to 20 feet. We'll have 20-foot intervals. So in this first bucket here, I would throw all the trees that are less than 20 feet. So I put my little range down here, 1 to 20. That'd be these 3 trees. I had a 6-footer, a 12-footer, and an 18-footer. And in the next bucket, I'm going to do ones from 21 to 40 feet. And so on. There were none from 41 to 60, so that's going to be a blank spot there. I got nothing to click. From 61 to 80, I think I just had one, right? That 64 tree. And then I had one from 88 to 100, the 88-footer. So now we're ready to take and put these into a histogram. So you build a chart, make an XY chart. So your X will be your ranges and your Y is going to be the numbers of trees. So in that 1 to 20 range, remember I had 3 of them, right? The 6, 12, and the 18, so I can pop those in. And the 21 to 40, I had 3 as well, so those would be the same height. I had nothing in that 41 to 60 range. 61 to 80, I had 1, and I had 1 there at 88. Now, when you just look at the chart here, you can't see that that's an 88-foot tree. It's just a tree that fell in the range from 81 to 100 feet. So if you don't have this, if you're just looking at the graph, you can't get quite as exact of information. But it's a very visual way to look at it and a nice way to display the information. All right, let's take a look at one more. Do I split this one to you or do I do one more? Well, I'm going to do it for you. I measured all the heights of all the students in my class and I created a histogram to display this data for me. So here's a lot of data up here. So we're thinking about buckets and like what kind of groupings. And that's the nice part about a histogram. You can pick the ranges. So what I picked for this was ranges of about 5 inches. So I had from 46 inches to 50 inches. So I started at 46 and I went all the way to 72. So I went in ranges of 5 inches. So from 46 to 50, I had these ranges right here, or these scores right here, these heights. Sorry about that. From 51 to 55, I had these ones here. You notice there's a couple of 51s, but you put that in there twice for 2 values. 56 to 60, that was a big one. 61 to 65, I had these ones. From 66 to 70, I just had 2. 68 and 70, and had the 172. So I think what's really important, this looks really easy to do, right? That's because I've taken and I've put all the measurements in numerical order. So I can very quickly go, well, let's see, let's use a range of 5 here, and then I can dump these in. You want to be able to do that too. So if your data is very loose and all over the place, make sure you put it in order from least to greatest, and it'll make your life a lot easier. All right, so now we're just ready to plot these on a histogram. So I've got my histogram here, student height histogram. I've got my number of students over here. I've got these ranges or the buckets to dump them in. So in that 46 to 50 inch range, I had 5 kids. I had 6 of them over here in that 51 to 55 range. Over here from 55 to 60, that was that big one. There was 9 of them. Let's just double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Count, I'm good. Let's see, 61 to 65, that's a pretty easy one to see. 3, and here's 2 and a 1. Okay? Time for you to try one. Go ahead. I made it pretty simple. Here are the number of pages read by my students last week and organized the data into ranges of 10 pages and then create a histogram. I gave you the range there so that your histogram will look like mine. Go ahead and pause the video. Hey, I'm back. Let's see. Well, if you made a little frequency table, from 1 to 10 there was 2 values, 11 to 20 there looked like there was 4, there was 1 from 21 to 30, and 3 in that 31 to 40 range. So yours may not have all the fancy schmancy colors that mine has, but it should look something like that. All right, hope you did all right on that. I got one more for the ticket to show. Here we go. Make a histogram for the frequency table below. It shows the number of cappuccinos made per hour and the frequency. All right, go ahead, give you a few minutes to take a look at that, and you can pause the video. All right, let's get to our trivia question. Who are these talented young women? You don't recognize them? Wait a minute. Do you recognize them now? Yeah, I think it's kind of crazy. Sometimes this, ooh, can't get rid of that. Sorry, I'll get rid of it here. Sometimes when their hair is down, I didn't recognize our 2 famous gymnasts, Simone Biles and Aly Raisman.